السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته يا شيخ.
أبا عبد الرحمن، كيف الحال؟
الحمد لله يا شيخ.
We are starting 7 minutes late and the site was late to open up.
I'm sorry, sir. We observe us
issues late. Okay. Can we go on now?
نعم يا شيخ.
طيب، إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد. We are reading Seerah A'ishah radiyallahu anha, the Seerah of our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha, from the book Siyar A'alām An-Nubala by Imām Adh-Dhahabi rahimahullah Shamsuddin. The last in the series of reports we read about her radiyallahu anha was a narration about how she lost her necklace and it became a means of goodness for the Ummah. Immediately after that, Imām Adh-Dhahabi cited narrations that show that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, in his marriage with our mother Āishah, al-Mu'mineen, Siddiqa radiyallahu anha al-Mubarakah, he was full of kindness to her and he was full of compassion to her. One of the major lessons in the story of her lost necklace, and for which Allah revealed the verses and the rulings on At-Tibyān for the entirety of the Ummah forever and ever. Because of Āishah radiallahu anha, Allah gave an ease to the Ummah forever and ever. And that is the ease of making tayammum in the absence of water, or in the presence of water when the individual becomes ill and unable to make tayammum, or fears that using the water will bring about illness or worsen the condition of a person who is sick, as we have in that verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah. It is from Allah's compassion upon Āishah radiyallahu anha, and that comes also from the Prophet's love for her. Other men would have insisted that they moved along and forget about the necklace, but the Prophet showed her a lot of love and a lot of compassion. Imām Adh-Dhahabi now went on to bring narrations in that regard that showed that the Prophet ﷺ was really loving and compassionate with Āishah. The Prophet ﷺ was really full of love and compassion for his wife, our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha Siddiqa. So he narrated the incidents when she had a voice up with regards to the voice of the Prophet ﷺ, and her father Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was displeased with it. He moved close to her, and then the Prophet ﷺ came in between her and her father, preventing her father from advancing towards her. It was a show of love for Āishah. And that was why when Abu Bakr as-Siddiq left and he was angry, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, جعل النبي صلى الله عليه went on to please Āishah, went on to appease Āishah, يترضاها, he went on to make her be pleased because she was angry. She had her voice raised. Her father was not happy that she raised her voice in the presence of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Yet out of love for her, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam stood between her and her father. And Abu Bakr had to leave radiallahu anhu when he was very displeased. This shows the Prophet's love and compassion for his wife Āishah radiallahu anha. From another incident that Imām Adh-Dhahabi cited to make us understand that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam was full of love and compassion for Āishah was the incidents when Salama radiallahu anha was asked about taqbil as-sa'ima, a man's having to kiss his wife when she was fasting. This question was asked by Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. He sent Abu Qais, Mawla Amr, the freed slave of his own father. Abdullah ibn Amr sent Abu Qais to ask Salama whether it was permissible for a man who was fasting to kiss his wife, who may also be fasting. Is it lawful to kiss a woman when she is fasting? A man has a wife, and he kisses his wife when the wife was fasting, or when the both of them were fasting. Salama said, radiyallahu anha, that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was doing that with Āishah. لَعَلَّهُ أَنَّهُ لَمْ يَكُنْ يَتَمَالَكُ عَنْهَا حُبًّا. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam لَمْ يَكُنْ يَتَمَالَكُ عَنْهَا حُبًّا. Out of love for Āishah, he wasn't keeping away, he wasn't holding back from not having something to do with Āishah radiyallahu anha, out of love and compassion for Āishah. It became also lawful for us. Every man who has a wife, you have a right, you are allowed in the Sharia to kiss your wife when she is fasting. That came out of the Prophet's show of love and compassion for Āishah. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam loved Āishah. He was usually compassionate with her. And from the things with which he showed compassion for her was that when she was fasting, he was fasting too, alayhi salatu wasalam, he would kiss his wife. And it became from the legislations of the Sharia. And Salama in this report collected by Imām Ahmad in his Musnad, and Shaykh Shu'aib al-Arnaud, he gave it on the footnote that wa isnaduhu jayyid, meaning that it's an isnad that is suitable for evidence. Salama said that he was doing that to Āishah. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was doing that, was kissing Āishah. Annahu lam yakun yatamalaku anha hubban, because he was out of full, genuine, compassionate love for Āishah. He wasn't able to hold back from her. So he was kissing Āishah even when he was fasting. And that was also the ruling evidence in the matter that if we have wudu, if a man makes wudu and he kisses his wife, is it lawful for him to make salat after that? You know, وَإِن كُنْتُمْ مَرِيضًا أَوْ عَلَى سَفَرٍ أَوْ جَاءَ أَحَدٌ مِنْكُمْ مِنَ الْغَائِطِ أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَلَمْ تَجِدُوا مَاءً. Allah says, أَوْ لَامَسْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ, or you touch your wives. Some of the scholars like Al-Imām Ash-Shafi'i rahimahullah, he has a view that if you make wudu and you touch a woman, your wudu has vitiated. Because of this verse, La mastumun nisa, or you touch a woman. That occurs also in Surah Al-Ma'idah. There's a verse like that also in Surah Al-Nisa. أو لامستم النساء. From the things that vitiates the wudu of a man is this expression, لامستم النساء. If you touch your wives. So the scholars are viewed differently regarding it. What does lamastumun nisa? What does it mean? If you make wudu and then you touch a woman, your wife, your wudu is gone. Your wudu becomes invalid. This is the view of an Imam Shafi'i. So because lamastumun nisa is lamastumun nisa. So إذا لامست امرأة نقضت wudu'ak. If you touch a woman, your wudu, you have vitiated it. The wudu becomes invalid. You cannot use that same wudu for salah. You have to repeat your salah. But others amongst the ulama say it was allowed. And the ruling evidence regarding that was that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, he would make wudu, he will be coming into the masjid, he will kiss Āishah radiallahu anha, and then he will go into the masjid. This hadith is at least Hasan, suitable for evidence. This makes us understand that lamastumun nisa in that verse in Surah Al-Ma'idah is not talking about merely touching her. It is rather talking about actual sexual intercourse between a man and his wife. That is the matter that vitiates the wudu. As for touching her or even going as far as kissing her, it does not vitiate the wudu. The point here is that became known from the Prophet's show of love for who? For Āishah radiallahu anha. From the Prophet's show of love for our mother Āishah was that even when he was in wudu, he would kiss Āishah and he would still use that wudu for salah, showing that if that happens between a man and his wife, his woman, it is lawful for them both, even if the two of them were upon wudu. Merely touching one another or kissing one another does not vitiate the wudu. Of course, as long as al-mani or the rest of the other fluids did not become emergent from the two of them. Because when any of those fluids emerge, they break the wudu. I hope that this is clear. But ordinarily touching a woman or ordinarily kissing a woman or pecking a woman, that's your wife or the like of that, or the other way around. The husband may be an imam, just like the Prophet was, alayhi salatu wasalam. He makes a wudu, he wants to step into the masjid, and his wife wants to show compassion and love towards him. She can kiss him. This does not vitiate the wudu. But the point is, where have we learnt that? We learnt that from the Prophet's show of love and compassion for who? For Āishah radiallahu anha, and it became a sharia for the entirety of mankind till the day of Qiyamah, that it is lawful when you are fasting to kiss your wife. It is lawful when you are upon wudu to kiss your wife. I hope that this is clear. All of these go to show that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam lived with Āishah the life of love, the life of compassion. Imām Adh-Dhahabi went on to narrate another incident that happened on the day of Āishah's marriage, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought some food, a bowl of milk, alayhi salatu wasalam. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought a bowl of milk to the the group of women who had camped with the new bride Āishah. So he brought a bowl of milk, like in the report of Asma'u bint Umays, even though this hadith is only sahih from the report of Asma'u bint Yazid. As for the report of Asma'u bint Umays, in fact, I think that mentioning her name was in show of an error by one of the weak reporters, Abu Shaddad. He was the one who was weak. It is from his weakness. Otherwise, the person who witnessed the event was who? Asma'u bint Yazid. But when the weak reporter reported it, he reported it as what? Asma'u bint Rumais is one of the ways to show that a reporter is evidence of weakness in his report. Today, an incident actually happened with Asma bint Yazid, and that riwayah occurs in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. It also occurs in our book in the page 173 in the footnotes. Al-Imam Shaykh Ibrāhīm Abdur-Raūf mentioned the narration in full details. So it actually happened with who? Asma bint Yazid, radiyallahu anha. She was the head of the women who took Āishah to the Prophet's house on the day that Āishah was brought in as a new bride, newly in Medina, to the Prophet Muhammad, alayhi salatu wassalam. So the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam provided them a bowl of milk. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam provided them a bowl of milk, alayhi salatu wassalam. فَشَرِبَ مِنْهُ. So he drank from that bowl of milk, alayhi salatu wassalam. ثُمَّ نَاوَلَهَا النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. Then the Prophet presented that bowl of milk from which he had drank to who? To Āishah, radiyallahu anha. Asma bint Yazid said, فَخَفَضَتْ رَأْسَهَا. When she dropped her head, she was so shy. وَاسْتَحْيَتْ. And she was shy. She would not receive it from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And then they began to encourage Āishah. خُذِي مِنْ يَدِ النَّبِيِّ sallallahu alayhi. Take it from the Prophet. Take it. The older women who had come with the new bride were encouraging her to take it from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فَأَخَذَتْ فَشَرِبَتْ شَيْئًا. She took it, and then she took some of the drink from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. So you would see a show of love and a show of compassion when she was brought as a new bride to the Prophet. The Prophet took a bowl of milk, he drank from it, and he gave it to his new wife, Āishah, radiyallahu anha. So the life of the Prophet Muhammad with Āishah, the foundation of it was upon compassion and love for her. This is the lesson for the rest of us, that we should try for the sake of Allah to be lovely and compassionate. I always add compassion to love. Compassionate, be compassionate, be merciful towards your wife. Oh men, show them mercy. Show the women mercy. Oh men, show the women mercy. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, خيركم لأهله. The best of you is the best of you to his family. وأنا خيركم لأهلي. And I am the best of you to my home. I'm the best of you to my household. So you will see all these issues of niceness of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, compassion, love between the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and who? Our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha. This is where we have stopped. We stopped on page 173 after the story of Asma bint Yazid. We were supposed to go on with the report from Zakaria ibn Abi Za'idah and Khalid ibn Salama and al-Buhi and Urwata ibn Zubayr radiyallahu rahimahullah. قالت عائشة رضي الله عنها. This was where we were supposed to have started this class today. It was another incident that showed that the Prophet was full of love and compassion for Āishah radiyallahu anha. A number of reports that showed that. Then we'll also come to the report when she used to race the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet used to race with her. That was also a show of love and compassion by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to his wife Āishah. All of these will be from page 173, inshallah. We will continue from there in our subsequent class. What I intend that we do today is, because most of the times we ended the class when we are not able to take sufficient questions. So I felt that after highlighting our lessons so far today, I would like us to pick a few questions that we may have from our previous classes. Abu Abdurrahman, do we have a few questions?
نعم يا شيخنا صلوات الله عليك.
I mean, I'm seeing a question related to something we just mentioned now. One of the brothers, I think, said, if a man if we kiss our wife when we are fasting and the semen comes out, does this nullify our fasting? It does not nullify the fast. Ala sahih, inshallah. Upon the stronger view amongst the scholars. Some scholars say it nullifies it, like Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin in his sharh on the hadith of Jibreel, hadith Umar radiyallahu anhu baynama nahnu julusan. He mentioned that, I think he also mentioned it in his sharh on Riyadh al-Salihin. That's the view of Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin. And there are others amongst the scholars in the past who had that view, that if you kiss a woman during fasting and the semen comes out of you, they say that it vitiates the fasting. But a stronger view is that it does not vitiate that fasting. That is the view of Al-Imam Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi rahimahullah in Al-Muhalla. And there are others amongst the scholars who have that view. From those in our own times, that is the view of Al-Imam Al-Albani rahimahullah. If a man kisses his wife and then the semen emerges, there is no vitiating the fast, because there is no proof. Nothing tells us, nothing says that the emergence of the semen from a man vitiates the wudu. Nothing says, not vitiates the fasting, I mean. Nothing says that. There is no clear-cut evidence about that. What the Prophet warned about, alayhi salatu wassalam, and Āishah also spoke about. She said, radiyallahu anha, when she spoke about the Prophet kissing her, وَلَكِنَّهُ أَمْلَكَكُمْ لِإِرْبِهِ. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, amongst you, he was the one who has the biggest of control over himself. If you kiss your wife in the afternoon of Ramadan, and that makes you begin to have conjugal relations with her, this is haram. It's not allowed. But that you just merely kiss her, and then something emerges from you, semen emerges, it does not spoil your fasting, but it spoils your wudu if it is about wudu. Emergence of mani spoils the wudu, but it does not spoil the fasting. I hope that this point is clear, inshallah.
Jazakumullah khairan ya Shaykh. And one of the questions says, how can a wife deal with a husband who, when he wants to correct, he does more of insulting than correcting? Please, Sheikh, how can she correct him on this?
You have also committed to avoid the errors that could make your husband become harsh to correct you. If you were not strong, then you will not be harsh. Avoid whatever you are doing that will necessitate that your husband becomes harsh when he is correcting you. Most times, these kinds of questions come from a woman who continues to do something that the husband does not like. So instead of looking inwards and stopping, rectifying herself, she begins to address what she considers improper in the manner of correction. Instead of correcting herself and rectifying herself so that the husband does not need to correct her, she begins to point an accusing finger at the manner in which she was corrected. That's, I think in psychology, they refer to as defensive mechanism. So for the sake of Allah, my first advice is for the woman herself. Avoid whatever will make your husband correct you harshly. Avoid it. What I know as a man too is that usually corrections don't come harshly, except that man has been complaining, and the complaints were ignored. Then it begins to come harshly. Avoid doing something that will make your husband complain against you. And if he has been complaining, rectify yourself. So the first solution to the husband's not correcting you harshly is that you don't even do something that will necessitate that correction in the first place. That is the first step to answering that question. The second step to answering that question is, just like you would not also want him to be harsh and abusive, you don't be harsh and abusive too. If you want to tell him how to correct you, you should not also be harsh and abusive, because you cannot be condemning his own harshness and abuse when you are also harsh and abused and you're trying to correct your husband, and he has a bigger right over you because he's your husband. So be calm, be easy, be prayerful, be advisory, and then inshallah, talk to him, make him know he does not need to abuse you, that you have a listening ear to listen to him. Assure him that he does not need to abuse you before you become rectified from the corrections he's giving you. I hope that this is clear. I recall we just read in a few hadiths ago when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was correcting our mother Āishah in front of the Jews. He was saying to her, Mahlan ya Āishah. Hey, take it easy, O Āishah. He went on correcting her in front of the Jews. I remember making it a point of mention on that day that if it were some of the women today, rather than change, they will be asking that the Prophet was correcting them in front of enemies of Islam. Women are like that today. Instead of adjusting to corrections, they are finding faults in the mode of correction. You caused the correction in the first place. So, if you avoid the correction, then you do not need to be corrected, whether harshly or friendly. You do not need to be corrected. And then there are cases, like I said, the Prophet was correcting Āishah radiallahu anha in front of the Jews. Today, many of the women we consider it as wrong for their husband to correct them right in front of enemies, Jews, al-Maghduba alayhim. In fact, a woman can go to a Facebook and begin to write about her husband. What happened? My husband was correcting me in front of my neighbors. So I think this is not appropriate. Change. You to rectify yourself so that you not be corrected. Now, if you are upon rectification, inshallah, and you want to correct your husband, just like you don't like him to correct you harshly, you don't also correct him harshly. Be calm, be easy, address the matter and pray for him, hoping that Allah will rectify him. May Allah rectify all of us. I hope this is clear for that question, Abu Abdur-Raūf.
جزاكم الله خير يا شيخ علي.
آمين وأنتم جزاكم الله خير.
Another one says, Ya Shaykh, may Allah preserve you upon goodness and reward you for your good works. Sir, what does it mean to fear Allah to the best of your ability? Can you please relate this to the use of hijab, khimar, and other ibadats?
Fearing Allah to the best of your ability. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah as much as you are able. The first thing about it is that whatever Allah has prohibited you, you must abstain from it. If Allah says, don't do so, don't do it. He has ordained you not to do it, knowing that you can avoid it. So if Allah says, don't commit zina, don't say, oh, I'm not able to leave it. No. Don't tell a lie. Don't say, oh, no, I'm not able still. I can't live lying now. Don't give bribe. Oh, don't say, oh, no, we are still giving bribe. Don't eat riba. Don't say, oh, no, we are still trying to live riba. From the aspects of fearing Allah according to your ability is that مَا نَهَيْتُكُمْ عَنْهُ فَاجْتَنِبُوهُ. Whatever Allah prohibits you, and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam prohibits you, you must abstain from it. You must abstain from it. And then, whatever He commands you, if He says, observe salah, aqimus salah, observe that salah as He has guided you. For example, He said, stand while observing salah. Imran ibn Hussein, radiyallahu anhu, he was ill. He came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to ask him, Messenger of Allah, this my illness will not allow me to be able to pray while standing. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu salam, Salli jalisan aw qu'udan, in another report. Observe the salah while sitting down. Why? He is not able to observe salah while standing. And he also said to the one who can't even observe the salah while standing, to observe the salah while lying on the side. Because of what? He does not have an ability to observe the salah while standing or while sitting. So this is about ability now. Another matter about ability is the use of water itself. A person may be ill, he is not able to observe wudu with water as we know it. Then fatayammamu, he will make tayammum. Or the person fears and the fear is genuine. If he touches his body with water, it will aggravate his illness. So that is at least it up. Now here he is not able to do ablution using the water. I hope that it is clear. What I have commanded you to do, do it as you are able to do. So if you can't use water, it is difficult for you. It will bring you clearly. I know a brother, if he is beaten in the rain, his body will be swollen up. If whenever rain beats him, his body will become reddish and swollen up. That's how he reacts to rain. So for him, he must ever avoid rains. He mustn't be under the rain. This has happened to him at least 3 times in my presence. So it means he does not have an ability to stay in the rain. So he must not stay in the rain. So the sunnah of coming out in the rain, the first rains of the year, the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that we should do that. فَإِنَّهُ حَدِيثُ عَهْدٍ مِّن رَبِّهِ. It's just coming freshly from its Lord. That person does not have an ability to do that sunnah. Now, when you bring this to the issues of hijab, if a person does not have any piece of cloth except the one that she wraps on the body, she does not have, then she should wear what she has. And she has to observe salah inside the house. She will wear what she has to observe the salah inside the house. In the time of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, some women had only one single jilbab. There are ahadith about this, only one. That is the same jilbab they will wear when they were menstruating. So they came to ask the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the jilbab we wore while menstruating, can we wear that same jilbab after menstruation? So that is about ability now. So when it comes to the issues of jilbab, You don't have an ability. Well, you stay in your house. The jilbab, wearing it qualifies you to go out. So someone says, hey, let's go to a lecture outside the house. I can't go. Why? I don't have a jilbab. So how then does she pray inside her house? She prays inside her house according to whatever jilbab she's able, whatever clothes she's able to wound around herself, wherever she's able to cover. That is where she will cover. But as for going out, the condition is about covering the entirety of the body, so she can't go out. Why? She does not have a jilbab. So when she has a jilbab, then she goes out. So about my ability is not what you think. These abilities themselves have been mentioned in the Sharia. I cannot wear hijab. This is what I can do now. No, it's about your choice. Some women will say, no, I can't wear jilbab that is long, touching the ground. Why? This is what I can do now. No, that is just what you have chosen to do. It's not about your ability. You have the money to buy 4 trouser lengths. You have the money to pay a tailor for the trouser length. And you are saying that your ability is to wear the hijab that's just standing on your neck. Those two things are different. You have the ability, but you are talking about choice. You are referring to choice as ability. If it's about ability, you can't buy the jilbab, then you can't find anybody in the house who can borrow you jilbab. Because it is actually allowed to borrow jilbab when you go out of the house. That is the reason why it means that if you don't have the jilbab properly covering you, then don't go out of the house. The Prophet Muhammad in the hadith of Atiyah about Eid, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this hadith occurs in Sahih Muslim, in Farada bihi Muslim. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told the women to told Atiyah and the rest of the women, go and bring all the women out. And then Atiyah said, there are some of us, ihdana la yakunu laha jilbab. There are some of us, they don't have jilbab. This is evidence that if a woman does not have jilbab, she does not go out of the house. She does not say, no, I don't have the ability, so I can go out. No, don't go out if you don't have jilbab. But the options you have is to borrow a jilbab from a neighbor. So when they said, ihdana, some of us don't have jilbab. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu salam, litulbisha ukhtuha min jilbabiha. Let her sister wear her from her own jilbab. The scholars say 2 things this hadith means. 2 women can go under a big jilbab. It will cover the 2 of them. The second meaning is that she can borrow the jilbab from her sister. She can wear from the jilbab of her sister. She can borrow the jilbab of her sister. So that's evidence that a woman who doesn't find an ability to buy jilbab, she can't purchase jilbab. She can't pay the tailor for jilbab. She can't have any means to that. She has to borrow jilbab before she goes out. Or going out without jilbab is not allowed. You stay in your house until you are able to find jilbab for yourself. But as for wearing something that's just on your neck or just on your head, and then you are saying that's what you are able to do, no, that is what you have chosen to do. That is about ikhtiyar, not istita'u. And I think these 2 things are different. I hope that we explained it and applied it as is observed in the question, Abu Abdurrahman.
Naam ya Shaykhana, jazakumullah khair.
Ameen.
Another one says, is asking for khulu or talaq on the basis that the husband marry a second wife allowed, or asking the husband to choose between herself or the newly married wife?
Well, all these kinds of approach come from 2 things. It comes from perhaps the husband has not managed his taking the second wife properly, or that the husband has managed the situation properly, but the first wife is not being patient as it is necessary in the Sharia. So the problem is either with the husband not managing the circumstance properly, or with the wife not being patient as it is appropriate in the Sharia. It is not lawful for a woman to ask that her sister should be divorced. You are asking your husband to divorce another Muslim woman. This one is not lawful. This one is not lawful. Some women do it. It's not lawful to ask your husband to divorce another Muslim woman. Okay, can a woman ask that she be divorced? Can she ask for khul'u? It depends on the matters before the marriage. If the marriage itself came upon that condition, even though that condition is an invalid condition, when a man is put into condition to say he will never marry another wife except one wife, the condition itself is invalid, because a condition that makes something that Allah has made lawful, that brings it into unlawfulness, is null and void in itself as a condition. So don't ask your husband for divorce because he has married a second wife. He's just doing something that is lawful for him. How does someone do something that is lawful and you are saying that he should divorce you because he did something that is lawful? Women should not do that. If they are not careful, this will fall under another serious matter. The matter that people ask for al-khul'u without valid reasons in the Sharia. The Prophet ﷺ referred to those kind of women as al-mukhtali'at in the hadith of Abu Huraira radiyallahu anhu in the Musnad of Imām Ahmad. The Prophet said alayhi salatu wassalam, al-mukhtali'at hunna al-munafiqat. Women who ask their husband for khul'u without genuine reason, for everything they're asking, kindly divorce me, divorce me, divorce me. There are some women like that. These kinds of women, the Prophet called them munafiqat. He called them hypocrites amongst women. Says, la yadkhulna al-jannah. They will not enter al-jannah. Wa la yajidna rihaha. They will not even smell the fragrance of al-jannah. So it's a very dangerous thing to begin to ask your husband upon the flimsiest of excuse, divorce me, divorce me. So I will discourage any woman from doing that. May Allah protect all of us and rectify our affairs.
Jazakumullah khairan, ya Shaykh.
Ameen.
Another question says, please, what is the ruling of one who is unable to save her daughter's hair on Akiko Day due to unavailability or unforeseen circumstances, even though the intention was made an effort to?
This question is not clear, Abdur-Rahman.
The question says, what is the ruling of one who is unable to shave her daughter's hair on the day of Akiko due to unforeseen circumstances? Even though
couldn't shave the hair.
Yes, even though he made the intention.
I don't know the unforeseen circumstance that the person is talking about. But maybe the girl was ill. Maybe there are sometimes children become ill and they are passing drips through veins in their heads and the likes of these. So they may not be able to shave the entirety of the head, hoping that when the girl becomes well or boy, then they can shave the head. If for these kinds of reasons, no problem, inshallah. As soon as it is possible, they could shave the head. As soon as it's possible, the head should be shaved. I think that's clear for that question.
Jazakumullah khairan, Shaykh.
Ameen.
Another one say, can a woman travel without a mahram to meet husband outside the country? Outside the country, is that a darura, sir?
No, it's not darura. A wife is in Nigeria, her husband is in the UK. He should come and pick her, or somebody should travel from here with her. It is possible. If it is possible, you don't call darura. It is something that is practically impossible that you begin to say darura. Like a woman who gets lost. People are traveling and then she gets lost. She woke up, maybe they went to eat food. She was with her husband, and somehow, somewhat, the journey continued. The husband forgot. They forgot her. They left her behind. As we heard in Qissatul Ifk, it happens. Maybe she went to ease herself. The husband was thinking that she was in the next seat, and it was looking like somebody who was bending like down, wearing jilbab and niqab too, looking like his wife, not knowing that his wife they had left her in Lokoja and they are traveling to Kano. So this kind of a woman, yes, she can travel alone to go back to Kano. She can, because she'd become lost. There is no way the husband can, unless it's possible again. They do a phone call, the husband say, where are you? I'm in Lokoja, don't worry, wait there, I'm coming to pick you. Then the impossibility becomes removed, and sighting Laura becomes removed. But perhaps she doesn't even have a telephone. And then she saw the next vehicle that was taking them. There are people she can recognize in that. I know Umu this, Umu this, Umu that. Then she goes with them. There's no blame in this. The woman who gets lost can be accompanied by a group of Muslims. But in the case of a woman at home, the husband can buy a ticket and come and pick her. It's not impossible. It is possible. It's a matter of whether we want to do it or we don't want to do it. So you can't get a ruling for that. That's about yourself. So the ruling, the circumstance that it is possible is that a man should come and pick his wife and take her away. Because the Prophet ﷺ said that the woman who believes in Allah, لا يحل لامرأة تؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر أن تسافر. It is not lawful for a woman who believes in Allah and the day of judgment أن تسافر مسيرة ثلاثة أيام, the journey of 3 days. In some hadith reports 2 days. In some report 1 day. The scholars say the day or 1, 2, 3 does not matter. In some reports, buried. All of these do not matter. It's about the person asking the question. So every journey. That's why you find in the report of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud contained in Sunan al-Darimi that it is not lawful, generally speaking, for a woman to travel without a mahram. So don't travel without a mahram. Come back and pick your wife. Please, brothers, come and pick your wives. May Allah protect all of us.
Jazakallah khair, ya Shaykh. Another question says, what is the strongest view on the face veil, that is niqab? Is it an obligative act or on women or recommended?
This matter has always been discussed amongst the ulama. The view that appears strongest to me, and Allah knows best, is that it is compulsory. The view that appears strongest to me, and Allah knows best, is that wearing the face veil is compulsory for a woman. And the proof for that occurs in Surah Al-Ahzab, when Allah says, Ya ayyuhan nabi qul azwajika wa banatika wa nisa'il mu'minin yudnina alayhinna min jalabibihinna. Whatever you call jilbab must include a face veil. Allah says, let them put their jilbab over alayhinna. Yudnina alayhinna min jalabibihinna. That huge, wide garment we call jilbab, draw it over your persons. And the face is part of their persons. You can't draw it over their persons. In fact, the first things to cover is the head and the entirety of the face. And that's the tafsir of Abdullah ibn Abbas. وَتَفْسِيرُ الصَّحَابَةِ فِي حُكْمِ الْمَرْفُوعِ. That is the view of Imām Al-Bukhari too. That's why if you go to Sahih Al-Bukhari, you see in Kitab Al-Tafsir, a lot of ahadith have come mawkufat aslan, لكن لها أحكام المرفوعة. So the strongest view, and Allah knows best, is from that tafsir of Abdullah ibn Abbas regarding that verse. It is also the tafsir of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud regarding that verse in Surah Al-Ahzab, that everybody, the women, should wear their face veil. Ibn Abbas said, Amar Allah Nisa al-Mu'min, Allah is commanding the Muslim women, إِذَا خَرَجْنَ مِن بُيُوتِهِنَّ لِحَاجَاتِهِنَّ, when they come out of their homes for their needs, that they should cover their faces. That is the tafsir of Ibn Abbas regarding that verse. And no khilaf, no difference of opinion is known from any companion about this verse. Please go and start asking, finding out. No companion is known to have held differently regarding that verse in Surah Al-Ahzab. And in that verse, Ibn Abbas, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, they both say that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in that verse, what that verse means is that the face should be covered by the Muslim woman. I think that suffices on that. There are other verses of the Quran and hadith that the scholars have employed to say that wearing the face veil is compulsory. But there are many others too, like Imam Al-Albani and many others, who hold that it is encouraged. So whether it is encouraged, whether it is compulsory, what matters is that wear it and follow the manners connected to it, whether compulsory, because the meaning of encouraged, mustahab, is that we'll also be telling you, please wear it, please wear it. So you see, we don't have a problem if we say it is encouraged or that it is compulsory. Those who have problems are those who say that it is not part of our religion. That is a lot of it is ignorance. Let me be clear. It is ignorance to say that the niqab is not part of Islam. It is ignorance. Wallahi, it is ignorance. And somebody to say niqab is not part of Islam, or that niqab is not allowed in Islam, a person will be being ignorant. And that's not allowed, because the matter is a widely known matter regarding which there are a lot of texts in the Quran and Hadith. So may Allah protect us. So the least view is to say that it is encouraged, mustahab. Why? It was worn by the wives of the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And the entirety of our religion contains an order to be like them. So it means they were dressing like that, so we should be like them. And Imam Al-Qurtubi and others have said that as for the wives of the Prophet, radiyallahu anhunna, it was compulsory upon them to veil their faces. All of them were veiling their faces. Even during Ifk, when Āishah radiyallahu anha became lost, she said, فَخَمَّرْتُ وَجْهِي بِجِلْبَابِي. خَمَّرْتُ, I covered my face. Wajhi, wajh. That's why I say, if a person says covering the face is not part of Islam, say, hey, my friend, this your ignorance is much. Āishah said in Qissatul Ifk, خَمَّرْتُ وَجْهِي. When I heard the istirja', inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun of Safwan ibn Mu'attal, she said, فَخَمَّرْتُ وَجْهِي بِجِلْبَابِي. I covered my face using my jilbab. The jilbab includes something that covers the face. So she covered her face. So for the wives of the Prophet radiyallahu anhunna, alayhi salatu wasalam, it is compulsory for them. Bi ijma'i ahlil ilm. The scholars have a consensus on them. From those who have mentioned consensus on this matter was Al-Imam Al-Qurtubi. So the least view we say for the rest of us is that we are encouraged to be like the wives of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam radiyallahu anhunna. So the women are encouraged. So it's between encouraged and compulsory. It's between encouraged and compulsory. So you see that once women use it, we'll stop talking. It is not important whether it's compulsory or not compulsory, as long as we do it and we follow the manners connected to it. I hope that this explanation will suffice on a very highly contested matter like this, inshallah. Abu Abdurrahman.
Barakallahu fikum ya Shaykh Ali.
Ameen wa fikum barakallah.
Another question says, how can a female student of knowledge merge between bashfulness and seeking knowledge?
There is no conflict between the two. Between haya'u and talabul ilm, there is no conflict. Once you follow the adab of talabul ilm. This is one problem I have with many madaris. Madaris is the plural of madrasa. I have issues with them. In many madrasas, you hardly hear the teachers teaching adabu talabil ilm, the manners of the talibul ilm. So people are learning without following the manners connected to that learning. And there are a lot of manners regarding men, manners regarding women, manners regarding the teacher, manners regarding the conduct of the class itself. As we hold this class now, there are manners, adab, that are connected to our learning and teaching. There are adab. So once a woman follows the adab of learning, and the man teaching her, if it's a man, follows the adab of teaching, or the woman teaching the woman follows the adab of teaching, everybody is upon adab. There will be no problem. She will not lose her haya because knowledge itself is teaching her haya. So why should she have to throw away haya because she wants to obtain knowledge? I hope that it is clear. So if you find a teacher who does not care, is careless with young girls, even ummahat, in his dealings with them, and he's a teacher, avoid him. It means he's not following the manners connected to teaching Islam. Everything has its manners in Islam. So I know some men are like that. They are not careful. They are not following etiquettes in the way they deal with young girls or with the women that they teach. This is not proper at all because knowledge itself necessitates that the manners of knowledge are followed. So how now do you want to pass across knowledge without following the manners of knowledge? One of the scholars would say that ilmun bila adabin kanarin bila hatab. So you are seeking knowledge without manners. It's like fire without fuel. What happens to the fire? It burns and dies off because the fuel that should sustain it is lost. So what sustains knowledge is adab. What sustains knowledge is adab, manners. You keep to manners. You respect yourself as a teacher, and the students respect themselves as students. Everybody full of self-respect and mutual respect for the next person. The knowledge will be passed and benefit will be sent across. But when a person who is learning the sunnah behaves like a person in the garage, calling people to join a vehicle going to Ikorodu or Bariga, then these kinds of questions will come. The woman will lose her haya before she becomes a learned person, and that is itself not encouraged at all. I hope that this is clear about Rahman.
Jazakumullah khair, ya Shaykh Ali. It's clear. This one
Can
says,
you have one more question before we call it today?
No, ya Shaykh Ali. This one says, Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. I presently cover entirely, but I'm about to take an admission for School of Nursing. This school presently take only short hijab. What do you advise, Sheikh?
Most times when we handle matters like this, we are emotional rather than knowledge-based. We should be knowledge-based and leave our emotions aside. I give you one example. You are on Nafila and your mother is calling you. What do you do? Abu Abdurrahman, your mother calls you, hey, my son, Abdul Fattah. Abdul Fattah, she's shouting. Abdul Fattah, you are in Nafila. What do? You stop the Nafila to go to her. That is what knowledge requires. Why? Answering her is compulsory. But that Nafila is just Nafila. It's an addition. It's supererogatory. It's not compulsory. So in the circumstance that you are in the condition to choose just one, you can't choose the two. You go for that one that is compulsory and you leave the other one that is not compulsory. The same thing applies for women. Your husband is calling you and you are making adhkar. Abdullah, Abdullah, and you are making adhkar. You did not respond to him. That you respond to him is compulsory. That you continue on the adhkar is supererogatory. So which one do? You respond to him. Then you return to your adhkar. So the same thing applies. It is compulsory for her as an individual, as a Muslim woman. It is min furudil ayniyah for her to dress properly as a Muslim woman. Meaning that if she does not dress like that, she'll be committing a sin before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But is it a fardu ayn for her that she must learn nothing? If she's not learning nothing, then she's committing a sin for not learning nothing. Is it like that? So she takes the one that is absolutely compulsory on her as an individual. It does not have a place, a time for suspension. But if you want to be emotional, you can start emotional. We Muslims, we don't have doctor, we don't have nurse, you don't have doctor, you don't have nurse. You don't also have women teaching women Quran. How many women teach women Quran? Or it's not compulsory for women to learn Quran. It's not compulsory for women to learn Quran. But how many women teach women? Just like how many women attend to women in the hospitals. So you can see now. So the same arguments apply. As you say, oh, we need women in medical profession. We need women to learn the Quran and teach women Quran. In fact, we need this second one more because it's about the hereafter. Even though most people will give precedence to something of this dunya. So if you want to be emotional, you can start saying, Ustaz, we need many women nurses. The point is that if she's not a nurse, she's not committing a sin, not being a nurse. But if she's not wearing her jilbab and her veils correctly, she's committing a sin as an individual. So which one should she leave for the other one? So I think the matter is clear for all of us to be judges in the matter. Just make the matter clear. Be knowledge-based because this is what Allah will ask you about. It's not about your emotion or the emotion of someone else. May Allah protect all of us. People can be emotional. But what we should be is knowledge-based and rational. Be knowledge-based. Knowledge-based depending on the verses of the Quran and the Sunnah. And rational. Be balanced. Because that balanced mindset will conform with the Quran and the Sunnah. But if you want to be emotional, then we can't help you. The religion is not based upon anybody's emotions. I hope that this is clear about the point.
Salawatullah alaykum, ya Shaykh.
Can we call it a day here? Today we will be meeting in class tomorrow morning, inshallah, for Al-Adab al-Mufrad.
Naam, ya Shaykh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.